She was like, it don't matter because Tiffany gay. Tiffany like girls. And I was just like, welcome back to my channel, guys. I asked her on my Facebook and on my Instagram. The links will be down in the description and also will be across the screen. I asked you guys, did you want to hear about the time that I got caught up or the time I found out I was bi? So y'all said y'all wanted to hear first the time I got caught up. So if you have not, go watch that video. Go watch the video because it's a crazy one, and that is going to kind of, this happened before that story. So anyway, the title of this, I don't know, it's probably going to be how I got outed, or I got outed, my coming out story, something like that, something to that exchange, y'all. So I got my little notes here so that, you know, I can tell y'all and keep on track, right? So get in a comfy space because I don't know how long this video gonna be, but definitely watch the end because it's definitely too funny. Okay, so we're gonna give the people in the name. My aunt, her name is, my aunt on my mom's side is gonna be named Cruella. My great aunt is gonna be named Nosy. My cousin on my dad's side, her name is gonna be Snake. You'll hear so many videos and you'll understand why her name is Snake. And then we're gonna name my other, and then my dad's side of the family, they just gonna be called the dad's side of the family because nobody in particular really cared. So never mind. I was about like 14-ish. I'm an army brat. Cruella took me in under her care. She pretty much was getting deployed this specific year. She couldn't leave me and my cousin with my grandmother, and my cousin didn't want to go to her daddy's house. I thought I was going to my grandma's house, y'all, because my grandma's house is fun. You know, you can't really get away with a lot, but she really don't care about a lot of stuff because she old. She don't care. So, and when she was getting deployed, she was like, I'm gonna ship you off. So the summer, like towards the summer leaving, my aunt let me know, like, hey, you're gonna be getting shipped off to my aunt and my uncle. She moved me there because she wanted me to have some kind of diversity and get out of the Indianapolis mentality, as she stated, that I was in. I got to Colorado. That was my first time on an actual plane, like by myself. So I was cool with that, and I got to Colorado and I was like, oh my god, like it's cool here, like it's nice here, good vibes, you know. It's very snowy out there. It was very good, you know, that my aunt and uncle lived in an upbeat neighborhood. So yeah, I started school, you know, right away, boom, get into an incident out there. Now this time I'm playing basketball, you know, I'm hooping or whatever, and I meet my other cousins that are down there. They're older than me. They go to the high school. So I went to like their little middle school or whatever, and it was cool. You know, they had a little AAU team, so I joined the AAU team. So with the AAU team, you go practice with the high schoolers, you go to the high schoolers. I was like, cool, because I could be around my cousin. I don't really know nobody. But this one particular time, like I kept seeing the same people there. So I'm like, all right, but you know, I'm not really paying it no mind. I'm just like chilling. So now we're in the phase of MySpace. So now everybody's getting a MySpace. You know, everybody's adding each other. So I'm adding all my friends from back home. That's how we communicate. I don't really have like an interest in girls at that particular time. I had a little boyfriend and I was like, oh my god, this is so amazing. You know, this one particular girl would always like, she would always be looking at me, but I would never like pay attention, and she would just, you know, look, and I'd be like, okay, whatever. But I just thought she was just intrigued, you know, by my beauty or something. You know, I was just like, oh my god, like maybe she thinks I'm very beautiful, you know. And this one particular day I went back to school. This girl I went to school with, she basically hey, like my sister, what we're gonna name the girl? Sadie. We're gonna name the girl Sadie. That's the first name that came to my mind, so that's what we gonna name her. So she's like, hey, my sister Sadie wants to get to know you, and she thinks you're very pretty. And I'm like, who's Sadie? Like, girl, who's your sister? And why is she, what do you mean get to know me? And she was like, oh, she likes you. And I'm like, okay. you know, like back then I was like a little tomboy, so maybe she thought like I was like a stud or something. I did get her information and stuff, but I never like followed up or anything. So I just took her information just for the hell of it. And so she happened to be at my game another time. So, and all my little friends on the basketball team was like, hey, she here, she here, she here. And I'm like, who's here? And they're like, oh, Sadie's here, you know, Sadie's here. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, that's fine, you know, whatever. So, you know, we played, we end up losing, get our ass kicked. Okay, I'm a sore loser, I don't like to lose. So I was definitely mad, definitely wasn't in the mood for no conversation. So she tried to like come up and talk to me, and I was just like, and just walked away. And I know y'all probably like, Tiffany, that's so rude. Y'all, I'm a sore loser. I do not like to lose. I was definitely didn't have good sportsmanship back then. So yeah, baby, once I lose, don't talk to me. I'm putting my headphones in on the whole car ride, whole bus ride, don't talk to me. So we get in the car, my cousin's talking to me, and she was basically just explaining to me like why we lost and like what I could have did better, and you know, whatever. And I was just busted out of nowhere, and I was just like, because one of my cousins was gay, like she was full blown lesbian, and then my other cousin, she was straight. So I was like, I was asking my cousin, I'm like, I'm like, B, how do you know like that you like girls? And she was like basically just telling me like how she knew she liked girls and da 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 da. And so I ended up talking to the girl. Oh no, this part is important, so I'm not gonna skip over this. So she basically told me like how she liked girls and all this other stuff. Now me and my boyfriend, we was getting on the rocks because he thought I was cheating on him like with another guy because I was so far away, but the whole time he was cheating on me, which was okay because it's like I'm all the way there, I'm still a virgin, like, and all that stuff. And he wants to do that kind of stuff, but I was not doing that kind of stuff because I was still like a virgin, and no. So anyway, I'm just telling him like, you know, it's not working out. And once I told him like it's working out, he just hung up, never called me again, never talked to me again, nothing. Like deleted me, blocked me off in MySpace and everything, y'all. Blocked, I mean, he just never would call me back. I would try to call him, and be like, I'm just playing. No, I was not playing. I was dead serious. So yeah, that ended up happening. So I'm just sitting at the house. All my cousins got all her friends over there, and I'm just asking them like, how did y'all know y'all liked girls? Or like, how do you know you like girls? And you know, I'm just asking them all the questions because like I said, my cousin was gay, so she had a lot of gay friends, and they would just tell me like, oh, you know, da da da, I knew I like girls when da 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 da. I'm like, what's this girl? She liked me. They was like, do you like her? I'm like, I think she's pretty. No, they was like, but do you like her? I'm like, I don't even know her. So they was like, just text her. And I was like, okay. So I'm texting her, and she was like, oh, it's about time you hit me up. I think you're so beautiful and da 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 da. And I was like, oh, okay, like this is nice. Like we just talked every day since that day. So since she was in the same state as me, like it didn't charge me to like talk to her all the time. So boom, we was talking all day, every day, all the time. And whether it was like on Skype or Uvu, like we used to Uvu a lot. But yeah, back then linking wasn't really like a thing. Like linking up with your boyfriend or your girlfriend wasn't really a thing. And my auntie was real strict, and I hadn't even came out and told them that I was dating anyone. I was just, you know, kind of confused. I was really confused at the point. So I remember I went back home for Christmas. Now, no, I had been telling Snake what's going on, you know, like telling her about the girl or whatever, and how like I think I like girls and stuff. And Snake would just be like, you know, she would seem so interested, but and all this stuff. She would seem real interested, y'all. See, but take that as a note, right? So Snake would seem real interested in what I like had to say, and you know, just like what was going on in my life. But the whole time she was really just going back and telling people my business. So I went back home for Christmas, but when I would go home for Christmas, I would go to my granny house, and then I would be like, hey, can I go over Snake house? You know, because I thought Snake was like my close cousin. Like we grew up, we not that far apart. And I was just like, I thought Snake was like my right hand, you know. We talk every now and again, you know, but you know, so yeah, I get to snake in them house. And Snake is getting in trouble because Snake had did some crazy stuff with, ooh, should I tell that story time? I think I should tell that story time on how I found out she messed with my man. So anyway, Snake, I'm gonna tell that story time. I'm gonna tell that story time. All right, y'all, I'm sorry, my camera had cut out. But yeah, Snake was getting in trouble because she was doing some wild stuff. You know, Snake was doing stuff that she wasn't supposed to do at the age that we were. And so she was getting in trouble because of it. So because she was getting in trouble, she was like, it don't matter because Tiffany gay. Tiffany like girls. And I was just like, no, this bitch didn't just out me. She was like, Tiffany got a girlfriend and everything. Like, she got a girlfriend and everything. And blah, 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 blah. And everybody was like, what? Tiffany got a girlfriend? And I was like, in my head, I was thinking like, I'm about to kill this bitch. And why the hell did I even tell her? But what I said was, I was like, okay, Ann. Like, literally, I was just like freaking out on the inside, but on the outside, I was just like, okay, Ann, yeah. And they were like, you got a girlfriend? So then basically she just wanted to shift the focus from what she was doing because she was being hot in the pants. And she was shifting the focus to me. So now that the focus was on me, all the attention was on me. So everybody was curious about what I had going on. So, you know, cool. So I'm letting them know. And they're just asking me all these questions. And my aunt, she's like, I can't believe it. My aunt, my dad's side, like, oh my gosh, she's so dramatic. She was like, I can't believe it. You like girls. You know that's not like God. And man, I remember she told my dad, and my dad found out, and my dad gonna say, that man gonna say some, you know I don't like that, like, and that's what happened on my dad's side. My Snake pretty much was being hot in the pants, and she outed me. So then, say like a year later, Cruella came back from deployment, and you know, she was just catching up on everything. She comes home one day, and me and my cousin were sitting in the foyer. Not the foyer, but like my aunt had got like 2 living rooms. So it's like a living room, the foyer, and then it's like another little room right there. But that's where all of our toys and games was. So me and my cousin was looking for a game to play, and we just sitting up here talking. It's so crazy because I just got off the phone with my girlfriend, and me and my cousin was talking about it, and she was like, it'd be crazy like if your mama found out. And I know y'all thinking like, dang, like, did your cousin tell her? Nah, my cousin did tell her. She wouldn't do that. We just cracking up about the situation. So my aunt comes home, she put her stuff down in the foyer, and she's like, Tiffany, I got something to ask you. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, pull up your MySpace. And I'm like, why? She's like, because I said so. And I'm like, why? And she's like, because Nosy is the one on my mom's side. She's like, Nosy told me that she was on your MySpace and she saw that you changed your sexual, she said that you were bisexual on MySpace. So I'm just like, yeah, I put that on there. She was like, so do you know what that means? I'm like, yeah. She's like, what does that mean? And I'm like, so you like boys and you like girls? She was like, so you like girls? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I like girls. And she's like, it was like, ugh, but she was intrigued, like she wants to know. So she was just asking me all these questions, y'all. It was so freaking awkward. But this doesn't even get as worse. It doesn't even get worse. I mean, it doesn't even get better. Okay, so the weekend, you know, my aunt always throws like these big old barbecues, and all the family always come over and all this other stuff, and the grown-ups, you know, go upstairs and they drink and smoke, and the kids go downstairs in the basement. So that weekend, it was the weekend before we had to go to her next job, wherever she was gonna be stationed at the next time. So we go ahead and we have the barbecue or whatever. So I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be awkward. Like, I pray nobody bring this up at the family barbecue, because all the old heads be there. My grandma be there. I haven't told my grandma, like, but this time my grandma didn't come. Actually, she did come, but my grandma, she always leave at a certain time. Like, when they start drinking and stuff, my grandma always leave. Like, she don't like being around all them drunks and stuff. So she be up out of there. So my granny left, thank God, because I hadn't even told her. Nosy's daughter go. She was like, my mama looked on my MySpace because my daddy told her that I was cussing on MySpace. And she was cussing up a storm, and she was talking about her mama on MySpace. So her mama saw all that, but in the midst of seeing all that, she saw like me change from straight to bisexual. So she saw that, and so when she saw it, she immediately called my auntie and was like, oh my god, like, it was breaking news. Like, she's very nosy, so she started going through my whole page. It was like, yeah, she's on there cussing, and Taylor too, Taylor's cussing too. She was like, all of them, they was all cussing. And I'm just like thinking in my head, like, why would your mama do that? Why would you do that, nosy? Like, why would you do that? Like, shame on you. Like, you could have just touched your nose with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could have just, you know what I'm saying? Because she was just too nosy. Okay, I'm surprised that her nose wasn't fatter, because she nosy. My worst nightmare happened next, y'all. So, no, all my uncles and my older cousins are there. They wives and girlfriends and husbands and stuff is upstairs. And out of nowhere, my auntie, I guess I hear them talking about it, and I'm like, shh, shh. So we listening, and my auntie goes, yeah, Nosy told me that Tiffany was on Facebook saying that she gay, that she like girls. I don't know what's kind of done to her. I sent her off to Colorado, and she come back with this shit. As if I got Ebola or something. As if I came back with a disease. It's funny now. It wasn't funny back then, because what happens next is gonna be why it wasn't funny. So she's like, why my uncle like, I don't believe little Tiff like that. I mean, she is a little tomboy. She like a little basketball, but I don't think she like that. I don't think she like that. That's what my uncle saying. So my aunt's like, watch this. She was like, Tiffany. I tried to ignore her. She's like, Tiffany. I'm like ignoring her. She like, come to the basement. She comes to the basement stairs, the top of the basement stairs, and she was like, Tiffany, come here. And I'm like, huh? She's like, come here. I'm like, here I come. But I'm taking all day. And so she was like, come here, hurry up. I'm like, okay. So I come up here, and she's like, tell them what you told me when we were sitting in the foyer. I'm like, what are you talking about? Playing dumb. I knew exactly what she was talking about. She was like, Nosy, what'd you see on Facebook? She was like, I saw that you said that you was bisexual on Facebook. So I'm just like, yes. And she was like, what? And I'm like, yes. And my uncle's like, what you say? I didn't hear you. I didn't hear you. He all the way in the back. Like, in my auntie house, like, you got like the first living room, but it's like a rectangle, and he's all the way in the back. He like, I didn't hear you. And I'm like, yeah, like basically like I had to say it for the people in the back. It fucking irritating. So I'm just like, I said yes, like I said yeah. And she was like, I don't know what you got an attitude for. I should be the one with the attitude. I'm like, what the fuck? So she was like, so what? So my uncle was like, so what you know about blacking girls? I'm like, I think they're pretty. Oh, okay, it's just a phase then. She just think they pretty, that's it. That's all you gotta worry about, Cruella. You don't gotta worry about nothing else. She just think they pretty, it's just a phase. And I kept telling them, it's not a phase. Oh, so you a married woman? I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, so you would be with a woman? I'm like, yeah. And my uncle, he was like, You know, guys, they pretty chill. He was like, when we gonna meet the girl? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, okay. And then I was like, she live at I'm like, she live back in Colorado. He's like, oh, we ain't gonna never meet her. Then it's just a phase anyway. And my aunt was like, nah, you need to cut that out. And I'm like, bruh. I'm like, okay, do you need anything else? She's like, nah, get out of my face. I'm like, all right, cool. So like, you ain't doing nothing but making me all right. So I'm like, all right. So then they still talking about it. So then 2 days later, y'all, 2 days later passed. I had to come out to my grandma because she didn't want to believe it. So now my grandma, I was like, grandma, I just had to sit down and talk with her because she was the most person I was worried about, because that's my heart and she's the head honcho. So I was like, had to sit down, and I was sitting down and I was like, grandma, I gotta tell you something. She was like, what? And I was like, I like girls. And she was like, okay. I was like, you not mad? She was like, why would I be mad? What does that have to do with me? You know I don't approve, but if that's what you want to do. I said, okay. And so she met my first girlfriend, and they got along pretty good. She was pretty chill. I used to sneak my girlfriend in the house all the time because my auntie would, like after she found out I was gay, she wouldn't allow no girls to come over unless it was like her boyfriend, little raggedy kids. So I used to always sneak my girlfriend in the house and all that stuff, like for the weekend and stuff. Who? That's too funny. That's another story time and another day, y'all. Because, like I said, I was a wild child. I was wild, y'all. So yeah, that's my story time on that. I don't really know if that was pretty juicy, but that's what happened. Snake was out here snaking, doing what snakes do. You know, I didn't realize she was a snake until literally last year. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Y'all comment on what you would have did to Snake if she outed you. I mean, Nosy, what would you would have did if your aunt outed you? Put down below also your coming out story. Was it good? Was it bad? Was it juicy? Like, let me know. Like, that was my little coming out story, I guess. So I'll see you guys in another video.